Okay, so apparently we are live. How are you doing, guys? So, just a little bit of the typical things that I have to say at the beginning. This is a live stream, and live streams are half an hour of the topic in question, and then the next hour is for Q&A for my subscribers, so you can ask me anything. So for those of you who want to watch and think it's too long, just stick to the first half hour and stop, because that's what the topic is. The rest is random, and who knows what people will ask. So, it's admittedly some good stuff comes out of the second half, but you're not obligated to watch because it may be too long for some of you. So the first half an hour is fine. So hang out in the first half an hour. And I'm actually surprised that there's not a lot of pre-chat. Usually when there's a live stream, there's a lot of pre-chat beforehand. So maybe I'm losing my popularity here, which is interesting. But I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad to actually focus on a topic that's really, really practical. So it's not just random talk here. We're going to talk about something very, very specific, and why do I want to talk about these things. So welcome, my friends, and sorry I'm not doing music. I don't have time right now. So some are very, very busy. So you want to have a good time and relax for a summer, as well as do such heavy lifting for the channel. And I just did a big video on my boating channel, the Rob's Off-Grid Sailing Project, which you can see in the link there on my channel here. There's that channel, and just installed a water maker, which took me 4 days to do. So 4 days that I had to do a water maker install. So yeah, so it's like so much to do, not counting jazz gigs and everything else. So it's very, very busy. And don't mind the small talk, because I need to do that for at least a couple of minutes to wait for people to get through the ads and all that in a live stream. So that's very, very typical. So no serious topic in the first 2 minutes. So thank you, Christopher. Hello, Boomer and Williams, Sharon, Jay. Hey, Jay, how are you doing, buddy? The Tribe, Marcelo, Mama Goo. Hello, Mama Goo. How are you doing? Ibrahim, Omar, Migo, Great Gold, of course, and Mysticulous. So glad to have you here. And this is a topic that, I've actually not broached for a long time. I think it's over a year since I've mentioned it, and it's time to get mentioned again. And people have asked me, and they don't understand what it takes to do this thing called XMPP and Jit.si. And these two are kind of connected, and there's also a reason why XMPP and Jit.si, and we're going to explain that in a clear way. Sorry, I don't have the piano intro, The Tribe. So you mean you're not going to like the video if I don't have the music? So there's 77 of you here right now at the beginning here. So it's building up, so that's good. So anyway, this is a very important topic, and the reason is people are understanding that the way we communicate, which is mostly through email and texting, SMS, are very insecure ways of conversing over the internet. Obviously, everything you put in SMS is, in the hands of the carrier, and they can read everything, and they certainly share everything you type on your text and share it to the government. So I don't know, I don't have to fear the government, but not sure I want anyone to be reading what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what I'm saying. I'm just that kind of privacy guy where I say it's none of your business. None of your business. So why would I use texting? Why would I use email? And we're forced to use some of this, and I told you some of the problems with email that even encryption can't solve, which, by the way, as of right now, that video is at minus 15 subscribers. Kind of like my live streams. Every live stream is, a good live stream is minus 20 subscribers. A really, if the topic is, is semi-political in nature, because I'm not really political, I'm going to get minus 50 subscribers. So yeah, everything I put out is like a minus. So instead of my subscription numbers going up, it's going down. So, it is what it is. We don't have to care about that. I'm going to deliver the exact same content that I'm going to deliver otherwise, because I believe in what I say. It doesn't matter if I'm curious about like who's unsubscribing and why. So if you're unsubscribing from the live stream, which 20 to 50 of you will do so, tell me why. Kind of like a parting shot. Go abuse me and say why you're unsubscribing from this. A lot of them say, oh, it's too long, that kind of thing, and that's fine too. I just need to know. So yeah. So anyway, why am I even bringing up this topic of XMPP and Jit.si? And the reason is that we need an option, and we need an option that's not complicated and that is safe. And the definition of safe varies by channel. If you watch some of these other so-called privacy channels, you can see some of these kind of like young beginner people who actually don't know much of anything, and they're like running these privacy channels, and they're going to promote certain things. Typically they're going to promote Signal or Matrix. It's another one that they tend to promote because it's a fad. It's a fad to promote these things, without actually putting the kind of intellectual, what do you call that? When you the amount of intellectual intensity and research to saying why do you believe that these platforms are the best. And they don't, because they don't really understand the problem, most of them. So, if you want to compare my channel to other channels, you will see that the advice given is different, because to be honest with you, many of these other channels are pretty flawed in their understanding of the problem, very flawed. So the main problem that they don't ever acknowledge to you is that the encryption is not the only issue. In fact, I told you that about email. The problem, and by the way, I'm sure that many of the Proton Mail fans did not like the Proton Mail video because, they believe whatever those other channels believe, that once you encrypt, you're safe, which is really stupid, because the metadata is what really is the danger, and the metadata is the worst thing you can have. Because if you work in the intelligence agency, because these people never ever understood what intelligence agencies do. This is how basic they are. They don't think they know cybersecurity. They never know what the intelligence agencies are actually looking for, and they're looking for sucking metadata. Metadata. So if I'm going to look for a platform that doesn't have metadata, I'm going to be very selective in what I'm going to use. And the two that I prefer are XMPP, which is a protocol. It's not a software. It's not an app. XMPP is a protocol. There are many apps that use XMPP. And then there's Jit.si. Jit.si is the video streaming platform for video conversations. And again, these two are excellent choices because these two have no metadata. None. Okay, they're excellent. Versus Signal and Telegram. Signal and Telegram, you have to give a phone number. So automatically you have metadata. Your contacts get a hold of you and say, oh, you just joined Signal. Oh, you just joined Telegram. And everyone gets informed if you're in their contact list. And that really bothers me a lot. It bothers me a lot, which is why I'll never talk to any stranger on Signal. Signal's fine for family. Telegram's fine for family. But I'm not going to use these platforms because there's too much metadata. And metadata is all you need. Just like I'm not going to use Proton Mail because there's so much metadata. Okay, you don't need to see what the text is. You just need to see who's talking. And if you have a profile of each person, then you know why they're talking. You will know it. If anybody in the intelligence community knows this. It's kind of basic. You don't need superior AI. You don't need anything sophisticated to figure out what people are doing. So, because of this, you need to make a choice in doing a messaging software, using messaging software that has no metadata. Now, why do I specifically say Jit.si and XMPP. And XMPP, like I said, is not a protocol. It's a protocol. It's not software. Let's talk about Jit.si for a moment because that is software. So Jit.si, Jit.si, as you can see in the title, is actually a platform. In fact, the public one is called meet.jit.si. And by the way, Jit.si is just a server. You can actually run your own Jit.si server. But because there's no metadata, there's no actual problem running the free one offered by meet.jit.si. So that is the shared one that they have. Now, if you want to be extra private, as an example, is if you're a cybersecurity person and you want to offer your clients a very, very secure platform for doing video, like let's say in a corporate environment, well, install a Jit.si server for them and say, hey, we can have a platform where you can have secure video conversations for your company, and you just run your own Jit.si server. You put it on Linode and install the software that you want. There are many pieces of software that run Jit.si, and then because Jit.si is another protocol, so they have open source stuff, and you run an open source server on Linode, for example, who's my sponsor, and run it for as little as $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever, and you can have support for video on your own server, which means no one can fucking see it. No one. This is not like Zoom. Zoom is going to the Zoom headquarters, and they don't encrypt the conversations, but when you actually use Jit.si, no one sees it. And here's the other thing about Jit.si that's extremely interesting. And the interesting thing about Jit.si is that there is absolutely no metadata because you don't have to sign up. There is no sign up. I love a platform with no sign up. Jit.si has no sign up whatsoever. None. You just go in there and state and call your room anything, as long as the room is not being used. You go in there with a room name that's not being used. You create the room, and there you go. And then meet somebody there, and nobody knows who anybody is because you just make up a room and you instantly just go to the website, or you can use the Jit.si app on the phone, and you have video, and all you need to actually tell the person is the name of the room on Jit.si. Or you can pass a link. You can pass a link, and that's it. Pass a link and say, here's the link, and let's do video. And you can even put a regular link because you don't have to change the link. Let's say it's Jit.si / meticulous. Okay, and you say, okay, this is my semi-permanent room, and you just pass that around, and in other channels that the public doesn't see, and say, meet me on this, and you don't have to keep changing it. It's just you go in there and you go to the Jit.si site and you state the room name, and you say meticulous is the name of the room, and you have your Jit.si session, and you can do it anyone, and it's so simple. You either run the app or go to a website and just go meet.jit.si. You have to specify which server it is. So in this case, meet.jit.si is the public one, but you can make your own server, like I said, and call it jitsi.brax.me, jitsi. Whatever your domain is. Run your thing on Linode and point it to that and say, here, let's meet over here. Let's say that Microsoft has a Jit.si server. You could say jitsi.microsoft.com. It's up to you because you run your own server. Again, if you do not have the tech to run your own server, no big deal. Use meet.jit.si. It's fine. There is no login. There's no sign up. How could you possibly have metadata when you don't even have a sign up? Since no one signs you up, there's no email, no nothing. This is wonderful. It's amazing that you can actually, in this day and age, sign up. The other one that doesn't have any requirement for sign up is Brax.me, my own site. There is no requirement for a sign up. Sign up. So let's say you talk to somebody and let's meet on Brax.me. You go on Brax.me and you talk to somebody over there, and then you exchange a Jit.si link on Brax.me, and you have a video session, and no one will see anything because it's encrypted, and nobody knows who you are anyway because no identity is required on Brax.me. That's what I mean by metadata. You cannot have a metadata when nothing is required of you during sign up. Nothing is required of you during sign up. So can imagine this kind of combination. You have a Brax.me, it's an initial meetup, and then you say, okay, meet on Jit.si, and then you say, okay, let's do some encrypted messaging outside of Brax.me because you want end-to-end encryption. Well, you can use XMPP. Okay, so let me talk about XMPP now. So XMPP is a protocol. It's not a software, it's a protocol. And believe it or not, WhatsApp was based on XMPP. In fact, a lot of messenger apps, like Yahoo Messenger and Microsoft Messenger, some of this, were based on the XMPP protocol. Some are still based on that. However, WhatsApp, they made modifications in the protocol, so they don't call it XMPP anymore, but the actual basis of WhatsApp was XMPP. So that was the protocol used. And any machine that talks in XMPP can talk to any other software that uses XMPP. They don't have to be the same software. Kind of like email. So when you want to use XMPP, you need some sort of client software. And this is where it gets confusing because people say, I want to use XMPP, but I don't know how. Okay, so if you have a Brax2, if you have a Brax2 phone or a phone you got from me using Lineage OS. So any phone, the Google phone that you got from me, there's an app on there on the Android that is called Conversations. Conversations is the Android app. So people go into Conversations and say, I don't know what to do here. Well, when you go to Conversations, you have to sign up to a XMPP server. So there's the client, so that's the app on the phone, in this case Conversations. So if there's somebody else with a Conversations app on Android, so let's say your friend has an Android, it doesn't have to be de-Googled, any Android can run Conversations. You download Conversations from the, you can download it from the App Store, you can download it from F-Droid, there are several versions of that. And when you download Conversations, you set up an account. So you basically have to have some sort of account with some XMPP provider. So Conversations has its own. So if you join Conversations, you can have an XMPP provider on Conversations that they offer, and it's paid. It's a paid service. And the Conversations one, the paid service has some extra stuff because you can actually store multimedia and store your content on the XMPP server. So it's much more sophisticated because you're paying for the space. I, on the other hand, offer a free XMPP server. It's basic. I mean, it doesn't have the ability to store multimedia because I don't provide that. But for straight messaging, you can use, and write this down, guys, xmpp.brax.live. Now I'm going to try to see if I remember to put that into the description there. xmpp.brax.live is the name of my server. Now you don't go to the browser and go to xmpp.brax.live. That doesn't work. Okay, that does not work. In order to use XMPP, you got to go to your client, in this case Conversations, and there's different clients for different kinds of operating systems. There's a different one for Windows, different ones for Mac OS, different one for iOS. But for Android, it is Conversations. That's the one I recommend. So on Conversations, there's a thing in there to set up a XMPP account, and it will ask for the server name. And the server, the free one, is xmpp.brax.live. And you go in there, and then obviously you have to set up an account. So you say create account on that server. The interface is different for different clients. But the point is you set up an account on the XMPP server, and you basically give yourself a username. So let's say you want to call yourself Mitch or Mitch V at xmpp.brax.live. That's kind of like an email. XMPP, so Mitch V at xmpp.brax.live. Let's say that's, so you set up an account called Mitch V, and then you basically, the remainder of your XMPP address is the server name. So you can have actually multiple XMPP accounts on different servers. If you're using my free one, it's xmpp.brackside.live, and you can use that to start. And if you want to use a more sophisticated one, go to the one offered by Conversations and pay them to run the service for you. It's not very expensive, and kind of like having an email account. And then you set up your server. So let's say that I forget the name of the Conversations one. So somebody could tell me what the name of the Conversation server is. But the whatever the server is, let's say it's conversations dot xmpp.com or something. So that becomes the tail end of your XMPP address. So mitchv at whatever the server name is. It's kind of like an email. It's kind of like it. So it's easy to remember, because once you know it's like an email and you put it on your contact list. And again, to start, you can use xmpp.brackside.live because it's free. So you can use it for testing, or you can use it any way you want. You can use it permanently. And I've been running that server for over a year now. And I'm sure very few people use it, but I pay for it. I pay for the service, and you don't have to pay for it. It's something I offer the community to promote that. And if you are a tech guy, because I found out that 75% of you are pretty techie. So if you're pretty techie, then you can actually, or half of you are tech people in a big way, and 75% of you include the geeks who really like to do tech stuff. But as far as the actual techies, at least 50% of you are professionals. So if you're a professional tech guy, then all you need to do is set up your own XMPP server if you want super security. So that's kind of neat to know that it doesn't take much to do that, and you can actually set up a Linode server for $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever, and you can run your own private server. Can you imagine offering a company the option of saying, I'll set you up with private communications that's completely private and completely end-to-end encrypted that you can control, and that is by setting up your own server for XMPP. And after that, you just message like texting. It's like texting. Now, here's the thing about XMPP. It works with many clients. So one of the clients that you can use, so on Android you use Conversations, is the name of the app, and like I said, it's preloaded on any phone that you got from me. Conversations is preloaded, and I load Jit.si up on the Brax 2 phones. So if you're on a computer, on your client email, let's say you're following my tips here and you're using Thunderbird as your email client. Well, guess what? You can put your XMPP account on email, your Thunderbird email client, and so you can even get your XMPP like email. It kind of looks like email. Now, unfortunately, Thunderbird does not handle the end-to-end encryption, so the only traffic you can do with XMPP is non-encrypted, but it doesn't matter because there's still metadata. Okay, and especially if you set up a private server, or you've used mine, nobody's messing with my server. Nobody can read your messages, and nobody is reading your messages, so you feel a sense of privacy because you control it. So if you want full control, you set up your own XMPP server, and it's open source. So you find out which platform on Linux, for example, can support XMPP. You install it on the server. It's very easy. I have a video on it, actually. You can follow my video of how I installed it on Linode. It's an old video. It's from over a year ago, and I have one also on Jit.si. So you can use that. Now, if you're running a PC, so on a PC platform, the name of the software to use for Conversations with full end-to-end encryption capabilities is called Gajim. 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 So Gajim. Okay, so Gajim works on I think all the desktops. It works on Windows, it works on Linux, it works on Mac OS. Now, apparently there's a better one for Mac OS. I'm trying to remember what the name is. Somebody can verify for me. I believe it's called Chat Secure. Somebody can verify that for me, the name of the better one for Mac OS. Chat Secure or something like that. So anyway, the point is that multiple kinds of software will work with XMPP. So that's the one for Mac OS. So for iOS, the one that there's a couple on iOS. If you go to the App Store and look for XMPP, you'll find a couple of apps. One is called Monal, M-O-N-A-L. And there's another one. What's the name of the other one? I forget the other one. But yeah, so Monal is one of them. So if you want to see, who's made a recent XMPP client, because many have made XMPP clients in the past. The original one was called Jabber, which I don't think is updated now. So you're going to run XMPP in Thunderbird. Yeah, so if you can just think about this. You get a few friends or your company associates, and you get them to do XMPP. Think about the added security where you actually don't have to worry about anybody reading your stuff, and yet you don't have to do anything special. And there's absolutely no metadata. Syskin IM, yes, that's the one. Thank you. But I don't remember the one for the new one that somebody discovered for Mac OS. I think it's Chat Secure, Chat something. Okay, it's somebody can verify that one. Okay, so hopefully you learn a lot from this. I mean, it's pretty basic. So again, what you do is you find your XMPP client. So you go to your App Store in your particular device, and then search for XMPP clients. Or I already mentioned the ones that are relevant. The ones that I recommend are Conversations on Android, Gajim on a PC platform for Windows and Linux, and for iOS use Monal or Syskin IM, and then for Mac OS you can also use Gajim, and you can use this one, Chat something. You like Blabber? I don't know if Blabber is good. You can kind of review it and see. Some of them have limited capability for end-to-end encryption. The ones I mentioned have support for full end-to-end encryption. Okay, so just so you know, so it's not perfect. So the client basically, if the client has been updated, it may not have supported end-to-end encryption. End-to-end encryption was added some years ago, 4 years ago, I think, and before that it was not. It was using a different kind of end-to-end encryption. The new one is better. So, which, if I recall, was 4 years ago. I could be wrong here on the dates, but yeah. So anyway, it's a solution that's immediately valuable to anyone. And instead of listening to people telling you to use Telegram, Matrix, even Signal is still okay for. Not Signal has a bit of a benefit because it's really easy for family to use it, because it's very user friendly to a point. So I find that everyone can use Signal, even a grandma. Grandma can use Signal. So because of that, for family, there's absolutely no problem using Signal for family. But are you actually going to tell your friends what your phone number is? I mean, for your acquaintances, what your phone number is? It depends. If it's business related, you may not care. But I don't like giving phone numbers out. So, the moment you give out a phone number, you get into a contact list, they share with social media. The whole world knows your phone number. Okay? Matrix, the problem with Matrix is metadata. So that's why I'm not very fond of Matrix. Matrix is metadata. So it's not just about encryption, guys. It's about metadata. So the rule is do not go for a platform with metadata. Yes, there are other messaging platforms A good one is Session, for example. I like Session. So yeah, that's good. But the XMPP protocol is cross-platform. It works on any platform. So you're not limited by whatever is offered. You can use it on a computer. You can't use a session on a computer. Session is, you got to use an app. So if you want a little bit of flexibility, because you don't need to require any particular hardware to use XMPP. I just gave you all the choices. Okay? So thank you for listening to that little lesson there. And that ends the talk portion, and we can go into the Q&A section. And then I wonder how many people will unsubscribe today. It's always a mystery. If the video is good, I get maybe 10 to 15 unsubscribes, and then if the video has a hot topic, minus 50. So my last video, because I spoke against Proton Mail, and some of these guys from the other channels promote Proton Mail and Proton VPN because they're the sponsors or whatever the reason is. See, I'm not beholden to any of those, so I'm telling you what the facts are. It doesn't matter to me if I'm hurting somebody's feelings, because you got to tell people the truth. You got to know the truth. Okay? So anyway, before I continue on, I already mentioned my sponsor Linode, so I'm going to mention them again. So if you want a Jit.si server or a XMPP server, you can actually follow very, very simple instructions. If you just know simple Linux command lines, you can set up a Ubuntu server or a Debian server and install XMPP pretty easily. You can just watch my video on setting it up. And the hardest part, I think, is setting up the domain. And you don't even have to do that. You can just use an IP address. So the hardest part is the domain side, because you have to get HTTPS. And that's really the problem, is getting an HTTPS certificate. That's probably the most time-consuming part of the process, not the actual installation of the server. Once you install the server, it's pretty much self-running, and you don't have to do anything, and I don't have to do anything. So you just pay for it. So I'm running an XMPP server in support of the community. So just like I run Brax.me for free. So yeah, you go criticize me, but I'm giving it to you for free, and you can run it on Linode like I do. So I do it on Linode. Okay. So let's see what your questions are. Do you ship your Brax phones overseas? Kelvin, you can actually order the, yes, I can ship overseas, and you can even order from Amazon.com, and they will export it. Not Amazon in your country. Go to Amazon.com USA. They will export it. So just to make it easier for you, you can do it there. And I think what's convenient about using Amazon is you can prepay the duties instead of having to pay the duties later, which is kind of a pain for some people. So yes, I can export from my site. You can buy the phones from me or from Amazon, but it's just more convenient. So especially if you are local and you have Prime. So Proton Mail uses metadata. All email have metadata, so that's not even there is no email without metadata. The point is, how do you want your metadata to appear? Okay, so yeah, so I have Brax Mail service, and it's totally low key. It comes with 5 domains, and nobody knows that you're on some secret email, and there's no expectation of encryption, because that's not what we're trying to do here. What you're trying to do is hide the metadata. So Brax Mail does not send metadata on the header. So I don't really care about the encryption side, because You know, how many people actually do encryption on Proton Mail? What, 1%? Less than that? So 99% of your email is regular email. So forget about the encryption. It doesn't do anything for you. What's more important is to not have metadata. So on Brax Mail, there is no metadata because there's no header. The header is cleared out. Okay? Yeah, still, Ting can still activate Brax too, but Ting has very bad service lately, really bad. So I'm stopping my recommendation of Ting. Very bad customer service. So I have Ting and I have T-Mobile. T-Mobile has been problem free. So I'm not sure why I need to go to Ting. It's cheaper, but with that kind of bad service. What happened was Ting was bought out. Ting apparently was originally a Canadian company, and it was bought out by some U.S. company, and it tried to do too many things and have very bad tech support. I've called them, and it really is an embarrassment to me that they have such bad tech support, and they're always claiming that, oh, you don't have band 12 on Brax 2, but it works. So why argue about it when you know the phone works? Oh, but you don't have, you know, and often the 2% of you that have problems with tower service, it's not because there's no band 12, which it does have band 12. Oh, sorry, the signal dropped there. Sorry. I just noticed the signal dropped. Okay, I think so. I wonder what you missed there, what I said. I don't know how long it dropped, but okay, I just glanced down, I saw the signal drop. But anyway, the Brax 2 has band 12, so Ting, they're just reading from a script. They're just a bunch of, you know, stupid new hires. They're obviously new hires, from Ting, probably working from home, and they're reading from a script, and they don't really know what they're talking about, and they don't even know what the phone model is, and they look at the IMEI and say, oh, that's a Z10, it's a 3G phone, we don't support that. It's not don't want to be repetitive here, it is not a 3G phone, it's a VoLTE phone, LTE obviously, and it runs perfectly on T-Mobile, which is what Ting is based on. It even runs with Ting Verizon. It even runs with that. And but I just don't have the patience for bad tech support. I mean, T-Mobile has never claimed to me that, hey, we don't support your phone. They've never said it. In fact, I move the SIM cards all the time between T-Mobile and on my different phones, and it works flawlessly on any Brax 2 phone I put it in. Okay? What do you mean no sound? I have sound. Yeah, so I'm so sorry about that. I mean, I just saw the signal drop. But anyway, let's face it, Ting screwed up. So I can't even go to my website and update the account because they set something up. I called them twice, said I can't access my account. The only way to change anything on my account is to call them. And why do I need to do that? So yeah. There's so many other MVNOs that are cheaper, or not cheaper, but at least the same price. So yeah, sorry about that. I was recommending Ting because they were good until they got bought out. So anyway, we don't need to worry about that now. So the point is, there are options. Now, kind of for those of you who are thinking about Brax 2 or have Brax 2, let me just give you a little update. We are dropping DuckDuckGo. You can use any carrier, Lynn Engel, although avoid Mint and Cricket because they are adamant about checking the IMEI, and the Brax 2 is an unregistered IMEI until the next model comes out, which is towards the end of July. There'll be another model. Same phone, just different. Anyway, I'll get into that in a moment. But before I get into that, what was I talking about before I read that? See, now I got interrupted and I forgot what I was talking about. DuckDuckGo, yeah. So DuckDuckGo got to go. Yes. So the problem is DuckDuckGo is the only one that I can use from F-Droid, because F-Droid is open source. And even then, they started to do stuff on their search engine. You know, DuckDuckGo is already censored, so that's already bad. So it's time to dump DuckDuckGo. Yeah, Straight Talk should work. So anyway, because of this, we are updating, so don't be surprised here, we are updating the Brax2s soon. And if you have DuckDuckGo on your bottom bar as your favorite browser, that's going to disappear. Okay, Umpire says out. So we are going to dump DuckDuckGo and we are going to go with a Brave browser. Brave browser. And then we are going to use Start Page as the search engine. At least that's the plan right now. Might change, but right now we'll see how Start Page performs here. We can always change it if I don't like it, because I was wondering about, you know, do I go Start Page or do we say go with Brave Search? So let's go with Start Page for now. And if we don't like it, give me a vote and we'll change it. Okay? So, yeah. So we're not beholden to anyone here. So, not beholden. If we don't like it, we don't like it. If we like it, we like it. So right now, Start Page is going to get the benefit because, you know, there's going to be a lot of phones with Start Page, because this is automatic. We're going to just force it on all the phones. So all the Brax2s, and there's a lot of them, are going to all have Start Page. So Start Page is going to make some big bucks now all of a sudden. So anyway, sorry if I'm, you know, talking. Let me put the mic down away so it's not so loud. Okay? So that's the story on DuckDuckGo. Yes, the problem is the DuckDuckGo shenanigans didn't start until we released the phone. So that only happened in the, you know, since March, and we already released the phone in March. So it's not easy to just change something like that. So we are changing that, and so if you have a Brax2 phone, expect a change. If you have a launcher, if you have a custom launcher, you don't use our launcher on Brax2, you have to reinstall the launcher, because that will go back to the original. So yes, it'll be just a slight change in there, and there's some bug fixes as well. So anyway, be aware of that. Now let me tell you, you can't access your Gmail because of something called OAuth. So if you want to access Gmail from your phone, you need to go to Gmail and set up less secure apps. You have to enable less secure apps, because you know, you can't run OAuth on K9, which is the client that's on the Google phone. So you have to also enable IMAP. So these are Google instructions. They have nothing to do with me. So you can go search for why, you know, you want to install Gmail on your client. It doesn't work. Why? Nothing to do with me. You can go search what you have to do on Gmail. I prefer that you do not put any Google email on your phone. In fact, it's best to forward to another email from Gmail to your phone instead of using Gmail on the phone, because if you use Gmail on the phone will be tracked, the IP address will be tracked by whatever client you're using. So it's not a good idea. It won't kill you, but it's not a good idea. Okay? So Google has to turn less secure off now. I think Google has turned less secure off. No, you got to manually do it. And you got to manually turn on IMAP. And I keep forgetting this because it's been a long time since I've done it. And mine was set up like that a long time ago. I mean, probably I turned on less secure apps and IMAP, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So that's why never heard it. I mentioned Volta in my last SIM card video, so you can watch that. The jury is out on, if Volta can do the proper tech support. It's not clear if they can really support the product. So if you don't want to use Volta, what you can do is you use any data only plan. For example, you can use, for example, T-Mobile has a data only plan, unlimited, for $50. Yes, more expensive than Volta, but Volta is a roaming only plan. So you don't know which carrier you're getting into, and sometimes the service is kind of bad. Sometimes they put you in a very, very slow connection. So if you want a better connection, you may want to just pay for it. So let's say you use T-Mobile, then you're going to need some sort of voice over IP app. You need something like a Viber or Skype or something to do voice over IP with texting. Okay, so obviously you probably shouldn't use Skype. And yeah, you can use Viber. Now the problem with Viber is a lot of advertising. It pisses me off. Can you please review the XX Messenger on Android or iOS? It's newish, but it was created by David Chom, so it's legit. Okay, well I haven't done a new review of any new messaging apps. They have to pass muster with me, and very few do. I don't support like Threema and some of these other ones. Yeah, to me the only one that really appealed to me was XMPP, Signal in limited use, and Session. Those are the top three in my vote from my last video a year ago. And nothing really has changed to change that, although you can see how close some of these other products are. But why worry about that when these options are really good? Signal is good for relatives. XMPP is good for people you don't know, and definitely Session is like super secure and zero metadata. I mean, that is an excellent platform for no metadata. Session. So yeah, a little harder to use, but for people that you want to have a really tight conversation with, Session is the best of that group. There are other ones, but I'm not sure they're gonna beat the ones that I mentioned with the metadata side of it. When your signal drops, we can always hear you. Your image freezes up sometimes, but we always can hear you. Thank you, Edwin. Yes, I figured that much. Do you have any more Pixel 3s in stock? No, I'm out of stock at Pixel 3s, probably for the long run, because it's getting to be an old model. So the replacement of the Pixel 3 is a Pixel 3a. So I have Pixel 3as. Beyond that, you need to go to Pixel 4, Pixel 4 XL, Pixel 4a, Pixel 4a 5G, Pixel 5, Pixel 6. Okay, Pixel 6 is a new model. Pixel 4a 5G and 4a is last year's model. Okay. Yeah, so the Pixel 3a stinks. It doesn't stink to me because it has a headphone jack. It's not waterproof. It's inexpensive. Screen is great. It's better than a Pixel 3. Well, Pixel 3 is waterproof. But it's newer, and it has a headphone jack. So, Ava, you cannot hear me right now? Pixel 3 and X in line, Pixel 4 and so on, yes. Why doesn't the dual camera work on Pixel 4? It's a software thing. I think the limitation is in Lineage OS. Yeah, it's whatever the software allows, because most of us use open camera. So if the hardware is a little different, then somebody might not spend the time to program for the additional device. Good night, Mary. 3 and 4 XL have a head jack. By the way, we still have 3 XL. No, 3 and 4 XL have no headphone jack. 3A XL does. 4 XL does not. 4A does. 4A 5G does. So all the ones with an A have headphone jacks. The Pixels are definitely higher grade phone. For example, if you have a Pixel 5, it's pretty high grade. They're very expensive, cheaper than iPhones, but you know, Pixel 5s are expensive. Pixel 6s are even more expensive. So yeah, they're expensive phones. So they're like buying an iPhone. So yeah, and honestly, you know, do you need to the phones I sell are used, Pixel wise. The Brax 2 is brand new, but the Pixels are used. So you have to plan on replacing the battery. You know, as depending on the age of the phone, it may come to the point where you may need to change the battery, which may cost you $100 to have done. So you know, you plan that in. So it could cost $100 to replace the battery, because it could happen anytime. Because the discharge cycles of a typical phone may be like 3 years, and then it starts going down. So yeah, so going down. So are you saying I don't have video? I have video. Do you have a dual package where I can have PC at home and connect to it via network and be super secure? Yeah, XMPP. XMPP is a protocol. I told you you can use a Gajim on a computer, and you can use conversations on Android, Manal or Syskin IM on iOS, and you can talk to anyone. There's no limitation. It's all encrypted end to end. Can Linode run all the Linux apps? Linode is a server, so you run a Linux server, so therefore you can run Linux server things on it. You can't run like GUI apps because they're servers. Yeah, straight talk should be fine. So in general, you know, for Brax 2 you can use all of them, but Verizon has some limitations because the phone does not support band 4. However, many people are on Verizon and it works fine. So only in places where band 4 is the one they rely on, which I think is just a small proportion, because I would say the majority of people are running Verizon just fine. So band 4 is not an issue. So now I'm going to tell you the next news relating to 3AXL is big. I don't know what you're talking about. 3A is small. 3AXL is big, like a 3XL is big. And I still have 3XLs. I can still get 3XLs. I just can't get Pixel 3s. But I can get Pixel 3 XLs. So 3As are still available, yeah. 3AXL. That's a big one. It's the same size as a Brax 2 phone. XL. XL means 6.5 screen. Okay, so the next news for you guys is the changes to Brax 2. So we haven't been sitting here and doing nothing. And I've sold a lot of Brax 2s. And by the way, if you bought your Brax 2 from Amazon, I would really appreciate some good reviews on Amazon. I've not gotten a lot of reviews yet, and you know, all it takes is one bad review, and you know, typically my carrier doesn't work. Well, I can't deal with that. I mean, there's nothing to do with me, but then they put a 1 star because the carrier doesn't work. So yeah, so appreciate it if you can put in a good review on Amazon. Even one extra review will bump it up, and I really would appreciate that. If you have, you know, there's a lot of you with Brax phones. A lot of you with Brax phones. So if you have an Amazon account, it would really be appreciated if if you leave a good review. So the change is now I have tons of stock of I still have a lot of Brax 2 phones in stock, both at Amazon and here. So now we have stock. We can ship it immediately. The interesting news is that, well, we're going to be changing Brax OS soon, but let me leave that for later. The thing that's going to happen with Brax 2 is we have another version of Brax 2. It's not going to be called Brax 3. It's still Brax 2, but the next Brax 2 coming out is going to be Brax 2 USA. Okay? Sorry. Brax 2 USA model. Now, what's interesting about the Brax 2 USA model is it will have band 4. So it should work with all carriers now. Okay, so that's one of the complaints about Brax 2. So if you're on Verizon, you can wait for the next version to come out. If you're not on Verizon, you don't care. Okay, next issue. The new Brax 2 phone, which we'll be starting ordering in end of July, so it'll be available to us near the end of July, will have a registered IMEI. So we're not going to have these idiots from Ting.com say that's a Z10. Cricket, Mint, these kinds of issues. Okay, so yeah, so the IMEI will be registered for that batch, the USA Brax 2. So I still have the other set of Brax 2s. You can, if you want unregistered IMEI, we still have the non-USA version. So so we can have both. So at the moment, everything is being sold is unregistered IMEI, which some of you like, because you want the IMEI to be stealthy. The only negative with that is it's kind of a pain with Cricket and Mint and Ting.com that says you don't have band 12. Yeah, shut up, you idiot. Phone has band 12. Okay, band 4 is the missing one, but it doesn't seem to be as big as an issue, and certainly doesn't affect AT&T and T-Mobile. So it's only an issue with Verizon, and so far it's been a minor issue. I would say 70-80% of Verizon works, because I haven't really gotten, I can't remember how many returns I've gotten relating to Verizon. Not very many. So yes, it happens, but it's not that many. So in total, if I look at the returns based on the number of phones I've sold, and most of the returns are from carrier problems, I'm going to guess returns from carrier problems is probably 2%. So, and that's given the large numbers of units out there. So yeah, I mean, some of you have towers in your area that may be leased towers. They may be not using the typical bands. So if they don't have support in a certain area, they could lease a tower, and the tower may be using, band 66 or whatever. And so there are some exceptions to the bands where it doesn't work where you are, and it could even be in a big city. So if that's the case and there's a problem, let's not worry about it. Just, I'd say, return the phone and get a Pixel, because Pixels support all the bands for the US. So yeah, hello Chunk Eastwood. Oh, Clunk Eastwood. So anyway, so I don't think many necessarily need the US version, but it's just one headache out of the way. If you're not big on Verizon, then you really have no reason to have to wait for Verizon. So the only ones that are kind of a pain, like I said, are Mint and Cricket, because they're adamant about checking the IMEI. And if they're adamant about checking the IMEI, tell Ryan Reynolds that he owns a stupid company. Okay, Ryan Reynolds, stop your stupid ads on YouTube about I'm a Mint owner because Mint sucks. Mint sucks. when you put a phone like Brax 2 on Mint and they say, well, we don't support it, this is a not supported phone, it's like, suck you. Because Mint uses T-Mobile and I'm using T-Mobile, so obviously it works, you sucking idiots. So, Ryan Reynolds, you zuck. Go tell your zucking employees that they shouldn't be blocking phones that work. So I'm telling you right now, dump Mint, dump Cricket, that's another one. The main carrier supports it, like Cricket is AT&T. The main AT&T supports the phone. There's no problem with AT&T. Straight Talk, Pure Talk, all of them work. Okay, H2O, Boost, all those AT&T ones, they work. Metro PCS for T-Mobile, even Ting works sometimes. If they don't say it's a Z10. So Mint sucks. That's right, Ezekiel. Mint sucks. Cricket sucks too. Ting is starting to suck. Okay? The rest are not so bad. So yeah. I don't have a problem with T-Mobile. I don't have a problem with, well, I have a different problem with AT&T, but that's because they cheated me before. But yeah. And Verizon runs mostly, but in the July version, if you're adamant about using Verizon, wait for the July version and you can say, I want the Verizon version. Okay, so all these MNOs is such an illusion of choice. Yeah, it's like, yeah, what's the difference? So some of them have, this perceived discount, but in essence it's not a discount. It's just, if you're a light user, like I use Ting because for light use it was a bargain. And and then they changed that. They actually grandfathered that plan, and the rest you still have to use the the normal plan, and you start to wonder, well, what am I saving here? I'm not saving anything. You might as well go to T-Mobile. So does that mean Crickets are lot devices designed by big letter agencies? T-Mobile cheated me, lied and made me pay for something they said it was free. Well, you know what? These carriers, they're all like that. Yeah, I mean, what do? I mean, they kind of control you, and they, you got to live with these carriers, and sometimes this makes you think about using some roaming plan from Europe and just skipping all these companies here because they're kind of a pain. So yeah, Mint was doing an IMEI check on a phone that doesn't have an IMEI registered, which is a Brax 2, and they're saying we don't support that phone, and it's like, zuck you. Phone runs. So what do you mean you don't support it? Why don't you zucking try it? So if you want to use Mint because you believe in Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Reynolds' family, Blake's sister, if you really believe in Mint, buy the SIM card, install it on your iPhone or your Google Android, and then move the SIM over. Then you can avoid the problem. So that's one of the ways. The other problem with the IMEI was T-Mobile prepaid. That was a pain. So some people are having a problem with that. T-Mobile prepaid. It's true that Mint throttles your speeds to 56 KB after you reach unlimited data cap. Yes, that is true of T-Mobile, and that's partly how they keep the price down. That's a T-Mobile thing. That's not really Mint. Yeah, I haven't said zuck you in a long time, Great Gold. So yeah, I need to, we need to get reminded how, zuck and really zuck us. So yeah, so what does Ryan Reynolds know about phone carriers? Nothing. He has money, and so okay, I'll do the advertising for you. So did you hear about the Mexican cartel creating their own mobile network? you can actually create a 3G network pretty easily if you have the money, and it's open source. So that is very, very doable for 3G. So, yeah. The boss himself, haven't seen you pop up in my feed. I should do a survey. How many of you actually get notifications? So, is there some sort of shadow banning, or I found out by the way that so my last 4 videos performed very, very badly, and so my conclusion is that my topics are awful. So are my topics awful? So for those of you who watch my last 4 videos, are my topics really bad? So let's say 0 is bad topics, 1 are good topics. So my last month. So 1 is good, 0 is bad, kind of like binary. Okay, we're binary here, but somebody will not want to be binary. But for this purpose, binary. So you if you like, or yeah, you can do thumbs up, thumbs down too. So anybody not like the topics, because they're really received very badly. Received very, very badly, the last few videos. So so none of you are having a problem with the videos? Well, can't be. Can't be. ESP is non-binary. Okay, so yeah. I mean, come on. Some of you obviously don't like it because I'm getting so many dislikes. So what I found is it's got to be my fault, because I found that nobody liked the thumbnails. The thumbnails. I was using, complex photos on the thumbnail, and people didn't like the thumbnail. They didn't see it. So I simplified the thumbnail, and suddenly the views increased. So it's amazing, that a screw up like that, bad thumbnail, and nobody watches the video. So, but the content is really good. So I really put a lot of effort into the videos ever since I did the Jason Bourne one, and every video after that, or even the video before that, they were all, many very difficult videos where the topics are really, really important, and they are getting very few views. Very few. Oh, Twist Mint, I thought you don't watch me anymore. Thank you for showing up. You've just been quiet. So I don't know what it is, but the amount of views are like a third of the usual views, and yet they were probably, in terms of content, the more important videos. Like my location video was very, very important, and it's the first time I put that much detail into the video in one video, because mostly it's in multiple, and I have it in one video. Hello, Alan. And yet the video got, I don't know if it even get 11,000 views. Like, it basically disappeared. By this time around, typically these videos get 50,000 views, and my videos recently are like, I don't know, they're at 11,000. My last video is at 5,000 views. The one from yesterday, 5,000 views. Used to get that in the first 2 hours. So yeah, it's these are important videos, and I think they have long-term life to them. So I really appreciate if you haven't watched them, to go watch these videos the last month, because they're very, very important topics. Like today's video, or yesterday's video on Proton Mail, it's actually extremely important. The analysis is very deep. It is not a tech lore kind of video. You want to watch tech lore kind of videos? Go to tech lore. You want to watch Rob Braxman kind of videos? Watch Rob Braxman. and you can see the difference in the analysis. The analysis is very deep with that proton mail one. And I don't promote proton mail. He does. Okay? And the reason, if you are a cybersecurity expert or anyone with, really deep ideas about cybersecurity and privacy, you will understand the difference in what I'm saying and what these other people say. Because often they don't understand what they're commenting about because they have no understanding of the problem. Because they're young kids. Most of them are young kids. Nobody actually knows how long I've been doing this. The problem is if I tell you how long I've been doing this, and you can see how old I am. I'm pretty old now. Okay, so I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. So, it's very hard to be challenged by some of these people who think they're so smart, but they don't have the kind of background that I have. I've been around this tech industry for a very, very long time, starting out with enterprise systems for decades. Decades of enterprise systems. 20 years? Please, ESP, come on. Come on. You think I've only been doing this for 20 years? My gosh. No, I've been doing this for a long time. I was programming since I was a teenager, in fact. And I didn't just do programming. I was a chief architect for decades. Many, many decades. Many, many decades. Okay? So I was the chief software architect as well as owner of several companies. Many decades. So you don't come around and say, oh, he knows a couple things. So... Yeah, and I appreciate for those of you who put low numbers in there so that you can, I can say I started programming at the age of 1. So yeah, I started programming at the age of 1. So, I hate to say how old I am. So yeah, because I'm going to lose an audience. So we don't want to say that. So in any case, the point is, it's just about more than anyone else on YouTube. So yeah, I'm in tech. I've been in tech and still in tech and doing things, that are contemporary. I was a C programmer since the beginning of C, if you can find out when C started. So since the beginning of C, I was a C programmer and architected enterprise systems in C. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I'm 31. Yes. What was the 1800s like? So, yeah. I thought the guy that breached Sony security was North Korean. So anyway, yeah, the point is I'm not at the low end in the numbers. I'm more on the high end of years in the business. So just for comparison. So let's see. So a pioneer. Yeah. So time traveler. I'm older but still have my hair. You're older but still have my. You're older than me. That still. How do you know that? How do you know that? You don't know how old I am. Korean, Japanese. I'm not Korean or Japanese or Chinese. Come on. You all know that. So anyway, yeah, I'm obviously I've been doing this for a long time, and I started companies, and I was I started companies, and my current company obviously is Brex Mobile, which sells you all these products now. But I was I was part of founding many other companies, which were and still are successful. So I've started successful companies. So, you go into some of these other channels and they say negative things about me, and you're like, ask yourself, what the heck do you know, young man? Stay out of my fucking lawn. Stay out of my lawn. Okay, these youngins go and making comments about me like, oh, this one guy, said, Rob Bergsman's a fraud. It's like, you fucking idiot. What have you done with your life? Okay, what have you done with your life that you can actually make that statement about me? So, I am of Filipino descent, yes. Didn't I just say that many times? Get off my lawn, yes. So, yeah, so the thing is that the difference is some of these people, they need to be on YouTube. They want to be famous, and they, so they come up with topics they think they understand, but they really have no background for it. So in my case, it's just understand this. I don't need to be on YouTube. I do not need to be on YouTube at all. I can make money some other way. Okay, the only reason I'm on YouTube doing this is because I actually believe in it. And some of you are calling me an agent of 3-letter agencies, which is hilarious. Okay, I do this because I believe I don't have to do this. I do not have to do this. So yes, and in relation to this, I have, because I know how to run a business, I have one of the more successful YouTube channels financially. I'm sure that my channel makes more revenue than any of these other channels in a big way. And why? Because I know how to run a company, and I actually have products. I don't just go talk here. I actually have products that I can sell you. So we have phones, we have VPNs, we have email, we have all these services we can offer you. Whereas the rest of them can just talk. So yeah, we actually have the infrastructure to run here, because that's nothing new to me. I've been running that for a long time. So yes, my company is small in terms of people power, but we're doing a good job, and we're providing the service, and I'm doing the service because you need it, because there's no one providing a similar service. So, and it supports the channel, and it justifies my doing this, because otherwise there's no incentive to do this for me, since I can make a lot of money doing anything. So at my level, I don't need to be doing YouTube. I don't need to care about the YouTube income here, which is what? YouTube income is very small. It's very small. So it's not even worth it. So, but yet, because I have products to sell you, then it becomes worth it. So just so you understand that and you actually, when you buy a product from me, you support the channel. And some of you don't even want to give me that, and they say, well, you're trying to sell us something, and so they unsubscribe. It's like, well, fuck you. Okay, I mean, I'm giving this service to you for free, and I make these products to help you. If you don't want it, you don't want it, but don't begrudge me the ability to communicate it for the people who do want it. Nobody forces you to buy anything. I mean, I'm giving you this information for free every week, twice a week, for free. Okay? So, come on. Some of you can complain, too many ads on your channel. Like I control that. Of course, YouTube is the one that decides how many ads you're going to see. And they put a lot of ads on live streams. They put ads every couple of minutes, it seems, on a live stream, and which is really irritating. And the problem is they don't put the ads immediately. They put it the next day. So I don't know till the next day what the midstream ads are, and I can't take it out till the next day until they put it in. So, and people are like mad. They're like, wow, we don't want this guy to be getting ads. Okay, fine. yeah, I don't really care. But don't use it as an excuse to unsubscribe, or use it as an excuse to unsubscribe. But please leave it on the comments so I know why you're unsubscribing. Because a video like today, I'll probably get 50 unsubscribes. 50. Typical. I got to fight this every week. The beginning video, I'll lose 20. So like my video from yesterday, lost 15 so far. And then this. So I lose 100 a week. And then, so yeah, the channel isn't growing. Barely. Yeah, but I'm used to that. It's not a big deal. It goes up and down. Not worried about that. Okay, you're still supporting my products. You're supporting what I do here, and that's what counts. I don't need to go worry about some other channel beating me and getting better. If some other channel succeeds in on YouTube better than I can, then yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. The more people think about privacy, the better. Right. So if I can't do it, maybe they can do it. That's not a problem. But they shouldn't be giving bad information. Neither should they criticize what they don't understand. If they're not criticizing and they just talk about what they want to talk about, then that's great. 100 a week are going to Odyssey and NewPipe. I don't know. You don't have to unsubscribe. You can just stop using YouTube, but they're unsubscribing. Thank you, Mitch V. I actually have no contact with Brockwell. She used to be a very big channel, but I guess I've gone beyond. So she has good topics, though, kind of like mine. And not weird topics. I mean, her topics are solid. Can IMSI Catcher find my brackets? Of course, any IMSI Catcher can find anything. So, I mean, yeah. Go watch that video. Yeah, but who uses IMSI Catchers and why? And that's what you need to concern about. Do you use OpenBTS? Yes, I use OpenBTS for testing. Yes, I use that. I have a Blade RF radio, which you can use to run OpenBTS. Yes. What if you got into the reaction meta and just post your reaction to trendy videos? Woo, mad cow! Yeah, you want me to actually change what I do here, right? I'll tell you what will happen to that. Nobody will watch me. You see, the way YouTube works, you have to stick to the formula that got you in there, or if you deviate even slightly, like I did with the AI video on computer vision, which I now call Skynet. Yeah, if you even deviate even slightly, YouTube will not share the videos because you sub to TechLore. Well, is that a good thing, Dark MAGA? I don't care who you sub to, but just, don't believe everything you're told. Don't believe everything on the internet. Don't believe everyone on YouTube. I mean, watch enough to see, why does a guy like a TechLore say different things than what I say? Why is it different? That should make you wonder. Okay? Why do these people on these channels talk about different things than I do? Because they don't really understand the same level of, they don't have the same level of understanding of the problem as I do. Maybe they understand it better than I do. I don't know. You be the judge of that. Oh, overbuilt is saying goodbye. Okay, see you later. They're like putting us viewers off YouTube is a joke. Is your website down? Well, I don't know. I'm on here, so I can't check it. If it's down, I will make it undown. IMSI Catcher find my bracks too. In order for an IMSI Catcher to find you, you have to have an IMSI Catcher next to you. You can't do an IMSI Catcher from across the country. It has to be right outside your door. So what the hell are you talking about? If somebody can do an IMSI Catcher on you, they can put their binoculars and look at you. Or knock on your door. They're next to you. Angelo, Zap, thank you. Thank you, Angelo. So, yeah, so some of these guys, that talk about security topics, and there's some really good ones that I like. Switch to Linux should follow him. He follows me too. I follow him, and he doesn't have a lot of viewers, but he's talking the right stuff, and he doesn't lead you the wrong way. And he's talking more about the big picture. Some people are very mechanically teaching you things like, oh, you should use Proton Mail, you Proton VPN, do this, do that. And it's like, why? They don't even explain why. It's because they just, whatever the hype of the whoever is providing the service. Oh, well, we do this, we do that. It's secure. Oh, it's secure. Oh, we better support that. Please, guys. You cannot be beholden to corporate interests, because if what they believe in, if they're doing something wrong, like keeping metadata, then which may not be intentionally being bad, but it's just the nature of whatever they're doing, you can't just accept that. Because these people have no idea what it is to work in intelligence agencies. Now, I have not worked in intelligence agencies, but I've been studying intelligence agencies for a long time. So, because I study this, I know what they're looking for. And because I know what they're looking for, then, it clearly, many of these young kids don't know that. They don't have the history of knowledge of how intelligence has been used in world politics for decades, and how they use signals, what do you call it? The volume of signals out there, chatter, it's called. So if they don't understand about the listening to chatter. They just find metadata, and that's enough. Just metadata is enough to make a decision about whether to send a missile or not. Metadata. From metadata, they decide to send a missile. And you're telling me that, oh, you understand the problem. Well, they don't need to see your encrypted data. Just from metadata, they know they'll send a missile to you. Come on. If you don't understand that, then you really shouldn't be in this privacy business, because you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so we're running out of time here. Could bots disrupt this channel on YouTube? Now, YouTube is a little hard to disrupt. Not like Twitter. Twitter is a lot easier to disrupt. On YouTube, you have to set up a Gmail account, and there's, 2FA requirements and so on. It's kind of difficult. So, yeah, you really will have a hard time doing some serious disruption on YouTube. They've done a good job with that. They don't understand the technology. Well, I wouldn't be saying anything bad about these guys, except they're trying to compete with me by saying bad things about me, and say bad things about me, then I'll say bad things about you. So I don't mind if young people go on this YouTube. Why should I mind? I mean, I don't have control over it. But if you go on YouTube and you are successful as a young person saying good things about privacy, that's good. And you don't have to insult other people that you don't understand what they're talking about. But they do, because that's the sign of immaturity. So I've withheld any comments about anyone on any channel until they start saying things about me, in which case, then, zuck you. Very much. Okay? So, VPNs are not useless. Probably some channels tell you that. Leo Laporte said VPNs are useless. Well, go ahead, Leo Laporte. With his tech channels. That's a channel I'll tell you about. Steve Gibson is fine. Steve Gibson's great. Leo Laporte, shouldn't use VPNs. It's like, he's sucking idiot. You don't even know what the data is that's being sold. You don't understand the data being sold with your locations, and you give your IP address, they gotcha. Come on. So, yeah, preferably you can use Tor, but Tor is blocked by a lot of sites, so the only option is a VPN. You don't want a VPN? Why don't you set up a your own VPN server and change it every week? If you want to do that. Otherwise, it's best to hide among the many. So that's what a VPN is for, hide among the many. So anyway, we're out of time here. Sure, you can use Tor over a VPN if you can. If you can do that. So anyway, guys, we're out of time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. And the last video, the last live stream was -20 at the last I checked. How many subscribers am I going to lose on this one? Because I talked about what I talked about? -50. That's my guess. -50. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you next time. Love you. Bye-bye.